let's just jump right in. What is the best thing that clients get from working with you?
But I say that like breakthrough to the end result of their goal is what they get.
Wow, so people are coming because they are in confusion, in a confusion
Yep.
state where they
Yep.
need to make big decisions. It sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So I look at it as like they just feel stuck. And I know a lot of people use this word, but feeling stuck just means like you don't know where to go and you're being pulled in one direction, the other direction, and nothing, there's no clear path. I think that's the best way to put it. And so I love meeting these people that have this like, I don't know where to go, getting them clear on what they really want. Because sometimes what we want isn't what we really want. It's the external voices and parents or
Yeah.
partner. So getting that clarity on what they really want and then getting that straight path to it.
So, why tell us a story that can help the listeners like really connect with your energy, like anything that comes
Yeah.
up right now, like no matter how crazy it may seem, like.
Uh, sure. So a lot of times in session, I have always been kind of a open-minded person. Now that my heart is also open and my mind is open, I get what I call downloads, and downloads are little messages that I get from my spirit team. And for those listening, a spirit team can be anyone from God's source to guardian angels to ancestors to spirit guides. We all have a different team and people with us. And so there are times during sessions that I receive downloads, and I don't say I'm getting a download, but a lot of times it's kind of like a little guidance, like, hey, I've been thinking about doing a new activity and I don't know what it is what the clients tell me, and I'm getting a download of seeing water and palm trees and beach. So I just kindly recommend, like, hey, when's the last time that you went to the beach? And maybe we can start going every week to seeing how that changes your energy. And the person will be like, yeah, wow, I've been thinking about the beach. So those type of little things happen to me pretty often in sessions, and I don't make a big deal of it, but I'm also just happy to like extra help. It's like extra help. The second one, which was the most surprising, has been men in between 40 and 60 years old that kind of just, they weren't even sure what they were looking for, but what I found is that they just need a safe space to express, like, the
To
things that
express what?
yeah, the things that they can never say, they think they can't say at work, at home, to their partners, to their children, to their
Okay.
to their coworkers, like things that they have in their hearts that they feel like, well, I can't say that. I can't say, which isn't true. They can. They just, conditioning, social conditioning, and all the other things have made them become silent with their heart's desires and worries.
Mm.
And I have found the most healing space also for me, and this is how I know that I'm getting goosebumps. I'm so tied to my dharma, to my life's purpose, because it's healing me. Like, I've had a rocky relationship with men starting from childhood, and now that I'm helping men heal, it's also healing me. And it's like this beautiful circle of yumminess, and I'm really grateful. So men has been a huge surprise.
Some a lot of people are not sure what is life coaching. Can
Yeah.
you give us like a definition or like the way that you see life coaching?
Yeah.
Is it just talking, or are you doing exercises with these people? What are you doing with them?
Yeah, so life coaching for me, and the way that I do it, is I'm a guide. I am helping you. I am guiding you towards certain goals that you and I in that first session determine. So it's not just like, oh, my life is up in the air, I don't know what to do. No, no, no. It's very, very, very specific. Like, you come to me, you have a problem. In the way I hear things, I kind of pinpoint some goals. We agree to the goals, we start working on the goals from day one. And that means a lot of reverse engineering. So let's say the goal is, I want to open my business at the end of this year. So I look at December 2024 and I go backwards and I reverse engineer a plan for them. And in that plan, so this is a part about life coaching, I am going to hold them accountable to that plan, which is where a lot of people, and me too, when we have goals, sometimes we don't reach them because we don't have that support. We don't have someone to talk to about it. We don't have someone checking in like, hey, did you do XYZ? So that's one of the biggest pieces that I do. Like, I guide you along that journey. I like to take it a little step further though. because for me, what makes the difference is shifting your mindset. And mindset shifts don't happen overnight. So while talking is great in my sessions, I give people what's called soul work. I call it soul work because it's essentially homework, but it's tied to exactly what we were just talking about in session. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that most of my clients love and hate at times because it makes them dig deeper. But they get to go home and like if they're serious and they really want to shift their lives, they get to work on it. Like it's paper, it's writing, it's crying, it's different kind of exercises, it's getting outside depending on the person. And I tailor all the soul work to each person because I love it. You know, I mean, a lot of people are like, Nat, you do all this. And I'm like, yeah. And at the end of the person, while they've been working with me, they're like, you know what, Nat, that one piece of soul work one day, I can't forget it. It has changed my life. And I'm like, wow, I'm really happy to hear that.
Wow. So did I hear you correctly? When, let's say, for example, the example that you gave us, somebody wants to open up a business,
Yeah.
you're putting together the business plan for them, or they are putting together their plan?
Yeah. So I've come up with a plan. I call it the roadmap. So it's not the
Okay.
business plan, but it's like, what are all the steps that we need from today until December 2024 to complete? So the entire roadmap. And a lot of it is them doing the work, obviously, right? But I help, it's like putting all the chaos in your mind and on your desk in order. And then I help you go through that order. And just goals are more attainable when A, you have accountability partners, and B, you have a clear roadmap. So those are the two things obviously I do in coaching.
Yeah, because when you were talking about the male energy, I
Yeah.
felt such a deep connection there with you doing this work. Is there anything else there that needs to be expressed for those that are watching and listening to this podcast?
There's a lot there. Yes. So
Okay.
I love that these men are finding me because A, I lost my father, so I feel like I'm able to heal. And my father was an executive and in that world for so many years. So there's like all this correlation of like being able to help other men. And my father didn't
Mm,
have the same outlet and safe space. So that feels really good. Um, I've also just been very hurt by men. And it's been so hard to forgive that.
mm,
I think I forgive a little bit and then I don't. It's just been a journey of forgiveness. And when I am in
yeah,
session, when men come to me for healing and help and guidance, there is all this healing that's happening to me underneath the scenes. And
that's
it's,
right.
it's a gift. And it's just this beautiful gift that I receive while giving someone else value. Like it
Yeah,
is, this is why I get goosebumps. Like it's such a deep connection. And I'm really grateful. And I never saw it
yeah,
coming. I never saw when I wrote the copy for my program, for my business plan, for my website, it was women, 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 right? Like I never in a million years imagined when I started this business that I would be coaching men. So it's been the most beautiful gift. And I'm grateful and excited because like what other gifts are there, you know?
yeah.
Like you have to kind of like check in and say, okay, is this right? Like, am I gonna want to tell this person about XYZ? Because it like in anything that any service you pay for when it comes to this, you're only gonna get out how much you put in. So if you hire someone and you're like reserved and not really sharing why you're not attaining that goal, well, if you're here about being more mindful about your eating, then why are you eating chips every night until 10 p.m.? Right? Like you have to put in the work and you have to want to put in the work. Um,
Well,
it,
yeah, and if people are paying, I hope that they are willing to do that,
Mhm.
to put in the work. But I understand what you're saying. Some people, well, yeah, sometimes people think that they're ready and they're not ready. Is that
They're
what you're
not.
saying?
Yeah, yes. And then sometimes
Even if
people,
they pay you?
even if they pay me, what happens is it becomes hard. It becomes hard for
Gotcha.
them because while it's not like healing and it's not therapy, it's not so the big two things. The biggest thing is that therapy for the difference between coaching and therapy. Therapy focuses on your past and your traumas. and like
That's right.
healing the things that happened past tense. Coaching is, and you said this perfectly, so what happens now? Coaching is for now. Like, okay, you've done some work or you haven't, either one, but you have this thing that you really want to achieve right now. So that's where the coaching comes in. We're not really going to go back there to the past. Sure, in conversations, things will come up, which is normal
Yeah.
and great. But sometimes when a person keeps going back to the trauma, to the thing in the past, and it becomes really, really heavy work, they want to stop because they weren't really ready for that. But that's the thing that they need to get past in order to go forward. So it's such a beautiful fine line. And sometimes I should have gone back and done therapy work. But, you know, for people that I
So
find it do, I recommend going to a therapist or a healer. I've recommended a lot of people to you for you.
So what you're saying is, let me just make sure that I understand,
Yeah.
because I am also a life coach, but I don't do life coaching. Like I do high performance coaching for business owners. So
Yeah.
what the difference is that we don't focus on, like you said, we don't focus on the past, but for me it's easier to be like, okay, what is in the past that is bothering you, so we can resolve this now, because I have that
Yeah.
too. But for someone that doesn't have those skills, and people are looking for a life coach and they hit those walls where they cannot get past it, what besides going back to the therapist, is there anything that you're doing with
Yeah.
this, some of
So
this?
that's why I called it soul work. And it's tricky. It's not tricky. It's interesting. So if someone's constantly coming up against the same problem and they can't get past it, I ask, well, where else does this show up in your life? And for how long has
Gotcha.
this been showing up in your life? So in that case, I give them some soul work that deals with where did it start? When did you start feeling insecure? Right? Let's say the person's insecure and like can't get on stage and do her business. Okay, let's delve into that. So I do a lot of exercises about like inner journaling. Well, when did it start? Whose voice do you hear? Are you internal, external voices? Who are you trying to please? All these kinds of things that we can talk about, but I give it to them in the form of soul work because it's quiet. They can do it on their own. And this is where it gets hard. Either they do it and they delve in and they're like, oh my God, that was hard. But wow, I just realized it started when I was 5 years old. And my mom used to tell me I'm not good enough, right? Like they have that like aha moment. Or some people start doing exercise and they're like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to think about that. It's too hard. I don't want to think about that. And that's okay, right? So the clients that I find that are most successful with me are the ones that put in that extra piece of work. And sometimes a lot of my clients also see therapists while they're seeing me, which is great because again, it's two different types of work. Yeah. And a lot of times, sometimes I get clients immediately after therapy because it's the same thing. Like, oh yeah, I did all this work. Now what? And
Now
vice
what?
versa. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, love, this seems to be a really, really big pattern in your life that's really difficult. Have you suggested going to see a therapist? And I suggest them to go. So it's beautiful work, and there is a fine line between the healing, the therapy, and the coaching. And the thing is that like the line sometimes blends. And not to say that
Yeah.
I'm a therapist, and I'm not a therapist, but can I give you some soul work and a journal prompt that says, hey, when did you start experiencing XYZ? Sure. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to hear you said that you're not a therapist, even though you have done some of that
Yeah.
work.
Well, and it's funny because it's called talk therapy. Essentially, what we're doing in session is talking the entire hour. We're just talking. The word is talk therapy, but it's not therapy in a sense of I'm psychoanalyzing everything you're saying and we're gonna go to the root of the problem and fix it today. Like if it shows up, it shows up, and I think that's healthy, but you get to work on that on your own time. We're working on the goal, whatever the goal is between me and the
Gotcha.
client.
Okay, that sounds definitely clear, I hope, for those that are
Yeah, I
listening.
hope so. I mean,
I
talking.
mean, because maybe I asked you too many questions in regards to that, and it got confusing.
No, I think it's good to clarify. People ask me this question pretty often, actually, and it's good to understand the difference in that I'm not a therapist and you're not gonna be psychoanalyzed every session, and we're not gonna go into your fears, deepest, darkest things from the past. but I'm also not going to shun them and not address them if it comes up. But it's not the focus. Like, I guess the biggest thing is that does never becomes the focus of our sessions. It can be a subtopic, sure, but the focus always is, all right, let's come back to the goal. And if this obstacle showed up, I'm happy to help you talk about it. And let's keep going back to the goal and how we can do the goal.
Beautiful.
Thank you for listening. Reach out to me. The first call is always free in the sense of like it's an interview between the both of us. So feel free to reach out. If you know someone that needs help, if you are stuck, it's where I excel. So reach out.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.